It is 5:15, and we are making our way to Oshawa BJJ. Get a little 6 a.m. NOGI action today. We are a week and a half out from Montreal ADCC, so we're going to try and pick up the pace with a little bit of technique, but mostly positionals. And yeah. Nice. Cool. Let's go.
Into the darkness.
Yes.
6 a.m. class.
40 minutes early.
Yes, yes. Nice clean mats. Ready to get some drilling.
Okay, we're going through a dilemma from mount today in class. One thing we want to look at with pressure from mount is if I just kind of go for controlling the head and shoulders right away, especially on a guy like Joe, I don't really have much in the form of keeping my top position. It's going to be easy for Joe to like bump me one way or the other. I have to result on one post. If he goes the other way, I have to either get to this post right away or I'm going to lose my position. So what I've been working on too and seeing in some of the higher level instruction is hand fighting from mount and immediately starting to fight for a position of isolating one of Joe's arms. So for sure, if I go for the top arm, he might bring his hand in. So this is always the fight. Going with double over grips is going to be also difficult because I'm fighting a lot of muscle groups here. So as I try to force Joe's hand down, it becomes really difficult and he can just resist a lot here. And if I'm going with an underclasp, it's actually a smaller set of muscle groups that I'm working against with the shoulder. So when Joe resists, it's actually very easy for me to just pin this down. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the hand fight. He might bring his right hand on top. I go for the underclasp, double grips here, and I'm pinning the wrist to the mat. So there's going to be two reactions from here. The dilemma is Joe does nothing, and I continue on my path of controlling the head and collecting the arm and underhook, or Joe does something and he reaches for this and exposes the back. So we're going to look at both. First one here, he hand fights. I'll go on the right side here. I get the underclasp. I pin the elbow. He does nothing. I immediately look to block and bring my hand in and control the head facing the chin the same way. I'm also going to bring my hand underneath the armpit and bring my left hand underneath the elbow. From here, I'm going to look to bring the arm up, collect the head, grab my own elbow here for a nice chest wrap. From here, I'm not going to keep my hips above Joe's hips because he's going to be able to bump me here off to one side. But if I bring my hips ahead, bring my knees over the armpits, it's going to be difficult for Joe to bridge me because my hips are not directly above his hips. So this is a good position where we can start setting up finishes here. We can start collecting for an arm bar, but really it's just a good position to control the head and not get bumped. Number two, as I bring my underclasp hand and pin, Joe's going to reach and defend. At this point, I get back exposure. So we're going to underclasp, pin. As Joe reacts, we're looking at this back exposure and we're going to bring my knee up to the head and make sure my shin is flush with his back. I don't want this part of his back to get back on the mats. From here, I bring my left foot up, heel towards the midsection, and I can reach for that gift wrap now. I can either go figure four or just make a nice tight connection here, and we just sit back using our shin and knee as a wedge. Pull Joe up, come all the way across, and get to the back. So we'll just go through everything really quick. We're here in mount. First one is underclasp, pinning the elbow and the hand, and we get no reaction. We immediately go to control the head. We get under the armpit, trap, we collect this arm and connect our elbows together. And I don't keep my hips over Joe's, I bring them up here. So I have my knees up to the armpit. From here, I can start finishing over here, or I can start setting up a back take. Now, if we have a reaction from the underclasp where he reaches, that's when we start to make the shift. We bring the head, the knee up to the head, shin flush with the back. We stay tight, chest to back, and we reach for this gift wrap. I like to go figure four. From here, I'm just gonna hike Joe up over my shin, and I'm gonna come all the way to the other side. I can go foot to foot, or traditional back take. From here, start to look for a finish. Nice. And we're gonna run that in class at a more of a higher pace today.